Hello, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to share a lesson from my online successful lace knitting course, which is a huge bumper course. It has, I think, about 50 or 60 videos. It takes you right through from complete lace beginner, not complete beginner knitter, but lace beginner, to intermediate, more experienced lace knitter. Loads and loads of different techniques, how to fix mistakes, read charts, cast-ons, cast-offs, loads and loads of stuff in that online course, and I will leave the link to that video below. So I realized recently when I filmed a reel for my Instagram and YouTube short on the Russian cast-off that I didn't actually have like a proper full-length tutorial for the Russian cast-off, and it is probably the cast-off, well, it definitely is the cast-off that I use the most for my lace knitting. So in this video I'm going to share a lesson from my online successful lace knitting course on the Russian cast-off. So I decided to share the lesson from my online course rather than re-record that tutorial again. In the video I mentioned that I compared 4 different cast-offs. I did 4 different cast-offs for the online course, and I compared the 4 to see how stretchy they were. I don't know at this point whether I will share them all here on YouTube. I may do in the future, but I'm not planning to at the moment. But out of the 4 different stretchy cast-offs I tried, this one is the stretchiest. Now, about the name Russian cast-off, different cast-off methods have different names, and sometimes the same cast-off method can have different names, and different cast-off methods can be named by the same name. Confusing? Yes, I know, it's very confusing. So I have seen this cast-off called lace cast-off, called stretchy cast-off. When I first came across it, it was called the Russian cast-off, whichever blog I found it on at the time. So that's the name that I decided to use. And once I started using that name in my patterns, I've decided to stick with that name because I think it might be confusing if I suddenly decide to change it. Whether it's actually Russian or not, who knows? I have no idea. But you may have come across this cast-off before, but know it by a different name, and that's absolutely fine. There are several different cast-offs that are kind of known as a lace cast-off or stretchy cast-off, so that's another reason why I've decided to stick with the name Russian cast-off, and it is the one I recommend in all my lace patterns. I think at least shawls I recommend it if you want a stretchy cast-off. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And I don't think I introduced myself. My name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website yarnaddict.co.uk. Make sure you sign up to my newsletter so you don't miss out on any future special offers, videos, new patterns, all that kind of stuff. You can find the link to my newsletter and all my social media. I'm now on Instagram, Twitter for the time being, TikTok, Threads and Blue Sky, and I have a Facebook group called The Love of Lace Knitting. All those links can be found below this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy this little tutorial. In this video we're going to look at the Russian cast-off. I've also seen it called stretchy cast-off and lace cast-off. I first came across it online somewhere, and it was called the Russian cast-off in that tutorial, so I've stuck with that name. It is a very neat cast-off and it's very, very stretchy. So in my comparison, it's the stretchiest cast-off. I managed to stretch 21 stitches to 18 centimeters. It's the stretchiest cast-off together with the sewn cast-off. But I always use this cast-off for lace shawls. This is what I always use. It's quick, it's easy. It can be a little bit too stretchy for normal things, so like sweaters and things. But you can make it a little bit tighter if you pull the yarn tighter. But for lace shawls, it's very good and it's very neat. So I've cast on just 10 stitches and just done a few rows of garter stitch. So you want to just knit the first 2 stitches. Now, if you're doing this across a rib, then you could knit them or purl them. So if I'm doing it on a row of lace stitches or garter stitch, I would knit them. If I'm doing them in a rib pattern, I would knit the knit stitches and purl the purl stitches. So because this is garter stitch, we'll just knit the first 2 stitches. You never want to have more than 2 stitches on your right hand needle. So I've now got 2 stitches on my right hand needle, and I'm going to put the left needle into the front of those 2 stitches, just like I do for SSK. So your left needle into the front of the 2 stitches, and then you have 2 options. So I'll show you the way I've actually written it in my notes first. So you put your left needle in and you slip them back to the left hand needle purlwise. So they're now on your left hand needle, and then you knit them through the back loops. You put your right needle in through the back to knit them together through the back loop. So you end up with 1 stitch on your right hand needle. Then you knit the next stitch. You have 2 stitches on your right hand needle. You put your left needle in to slip them purlwise back to the right hand needle, and then you knit them together through the back loop. Now, did you notice what was happening there? So if I knit the next one, so I have 2 stitches on my right hand needle. If I put my left needle into the front of those 2 stitches, I don't actually have to take my right needle out, because my right needle is where it should be to knit them through the back loop. So I can then just knit them together through the back loops. It's like when you do SSK. So I knit the next one, I put my left needle into the front of those 2 stitches, and I knit them together. If I happen to slip my right needle out by accident, I can just go back and knit them through the back loop. So knit on, put your left needle into the front of those 2 stitches and knit them through the back loop. And you just keep going like that till you have 1 stitch on your needle, on your right needle, and then you break the yarn and pull it through. I'm not going to do that here because I am going to use the same piece to cast off some more stitches. But it is a very neat cast on, it's very stretchy, and I really like it. But it can be too stretchy for non-lacy things. So if you're not sure about which cast on to use, it's always a good idea to knit a little swatch in the stitch pattern you'll be using, and then try casting off and see which cast off you prefer. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know below this video. If you have tried this cast off, let me know what you think. I find when I teach it in my in-person workshops that people get the hang of it fairly quickly. I think it's a fairly quick cast off to learn, and it's not as complicated as some other stretchy cast offs. And I also think it's fairly quick. I actually find it as quick or maybe even quicker than a regular cast off. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and let me know in the comments if you've tried this cast off before. Thank you for watching.